Bravemaker Show is hosted by Tony Gapperstone and Christina Jackson. Thanks for tuning in. It's showtime.
Oh my gosh, it's showtime, everybody. Hey. Tony Gapperstone back after COVID knocked me flat. It was not fun. My pronouns are he, him, his. I'm a filmmaker and actor in Redwood City, California. Right now I'm live from the Bravemaker HQ. I'm a Caucasian man with some brown hair wearing a black trucker hat today and some glasses with our black studio step and repeat that says Bravemaker in the back. And I'm excited because it's the day before the Bravemaker Film Fest. Yes, it is happening finally. We are in person for 4 days and you're going to meet 2 more filmmakers. We've been doing this for the past few weeks. It's been really fun getting to know everybody. But before that, let me introduce my friend, my collaborator, and the producer of my next feature film, Christina Ray Jackson. Christina.
What's going on, Tony? It's good to have you back. You look great. You're over here rapping now. Or was that a haiku? What was that? Knock me flat. Now I'm back.
I don't know what that was. I'm just drinking my calories and having fun with you today.
I like it. I have to say, I've never seen anyone bounce back from COVID the way you have. So bravo to you. And we have a very exciting show with 2 more filmmakers. I'm Christina Ray Jackson. I'm an actor and a writer and a singer and a comic book writer. And I love me some cosplay. And today I'm rocking the Wakanda with some fluffy, let's say, cotton candy pink hair and a pink glitter lip.
I love that cotton candy.
Right? It makes me hungry. And I'm African-American woman, and I'm sitting in my studio in Dublin, California, in front of a faux plant wall with some pink butterflies and art. And I'm in my favorite power chair by Will. This is the Will Model C, and my pronouns are he, she, they. I am queer, and I'm ready to go, Tony. I'm so excited. I feel like we have been counting down for years, literally, till we got to be back in person for this festival. It's so exciting.
It is. It's exciting. It's a lot of work. It's nerve-wracking. We were just talking offline with one of our filmmakers about like those butterflies that you get when you show a film. I kind of feel the same way. Like you just want everything to go right. You want people to have a good time. Yeah. And I want people to make some connections. Like I'm hoping over the next 4 days, there's inspiration, like people get ideas for the next movie. I'm hoping that there's some friendships that develop that maybe, who knows, you can find an actor that you cast in your next film, or a producer, or just a creative collaborator that somehow takes your work into where it needs to be for the future. That's always our hope. So before we get into before we get into those filmmakers real quick, we always ask this question: what are you doing to move your creative work forward? How are you braving your way toward your creative goals? What'd you do this week?
What we're always doing, Tony, jangling that can. No.
Money, you need money.
Asking for money and trying to raise money and figuring out better and cooler and more efficient ways to provide value to others in order to capture value to bring our dreams to life. So that's what I was doing this weekend, fundraising. And what did you do to brave your way this week, Tony?
I've been working so much on the film fest. I was like racking my brain. Did I do anything for my personal projects?
Right.
I don't think I did. I gotta admit, I didn't do anything for my personal projects this week, but I would say investing into the film fest, knowing that we're going to talk a lot about our next film, Go Veronica Go. On Sunday, I'm hoping we can talk more about Go Veronica Go with the special lunch that we're doing at the Ciclismo Cafe. So if you're coming to the film festival, Christina and I will be rolling around talking about our next film. And I'm just it's on my brain. I'm thinking about what's next and how we're going to bring this project to life. That's kind of what I'm thinking. All right. And we're going to talk about how these next 2 filmmakers brought their project to life, because it is no easy feat. Raising the money, casting actors, getting people to follow your vision, getting it edited and sound designed and looking sharp, and then submit it to film festivals, and then get it ready for exhibition. It's a lot, but we're going to celebrate 2 filmmakers who you're going to meet this weekend if you come to the Brave Maker Film Festival. And that is Nick
Yeah.
Musleh and Nadine Crocker. Welcome to the show.
Hello.
Welcome, you guys.
Hey guys, how's it going? Thanks for having me and us.
Yes, thank you for having us.
Absolutely.
Got it. Christina likes to start off with a particular question, and you can also do your physical descriptions too. So Christina, start us off.
Yes. So if you could tell us where you are chatting from and give us a good visual description, we'll start with you, Nadine.
I'm in Fresno, California. I was here for the holiday, and I'm getting ready to go to the Brave Maker Film Festival. So I'm visiting Fresno, California, and I'm really sad to say I'm in front of a very boring white wall. I wish I had something more exciting happening behind me. I have a very platinum blonde pixie, and what I like to call my Mr. T jewelry, which is a lot of jewelry.
Yeah, I'm a fan of the gold chains.
Right.
All right. And Nick, what about you? Where are you chatting in from? And give us a good visual description.
Sure. I'm out here in Los Angeles, and I'm a Middle Eastern American multi-racial man who is still rocking his COVID beard, which I'm very proud of.
Perfect.
I'm in front of my partner's artwork that came when she moved in. It's the Painting Ladies. She thought it'd be really cool if we featured them today, which they pretty much are in every Zoom.
Cool.
And yeah, I'm getting ready to drive up in the morning tomorrow.
Very cool. I've never seen any art showing the brushstroke. That's a nice nostalgic piece for swimmers. Very cool. Well, Nick, we'll stay with you. So I love comic books, love cosplay, all that stuff, and I love storytelling. We want to hear your origin story. Where were you born and raised? How has your journey uniquely prepared you for the work you're doing today in film?
Oh man, well, I was born and raised in San Francisco, and so it's really a great homecoming, and I'm so thankful that my films got a home at Brave Maker for so many reasons. It's just I really believe in what y'all do and what y'all stand for, and it really does feel like I'm coming home to some peers after being in LA for a long time. But I learned Shakespeare up there in the Bay Area, actually in Fairfield, California, and I did a lot of work in the Bay Area as an actor. Yeah, the first time I did Love's Labor's Lost was at Santa Clara University nearby, out near you guys. And then I eventually came down to Los Angeles, studied at UCLA as well, and did some Shakespeare there. And it was after a while of doing some film and TV stuff that I was like, well, what's the thing I really want to do that's going to keep me an artist for the rest of my life? And it was Shakespeare. So I started. Yeah, I had an opportunity to teach at a theater company to moderate some Shakespeare acting classes, basically, and that's where this project came out of. I tend to respect Shakespeare a lot, but I was like, I want to see if it aligns with my values and the things that matter to me today. And crazy enough, it does. And as long as it still does, I'll keep doing it. So, yeah, we made a feminist Shakespeare adaptation of Love's Labor's Lost. I'm very, very proud of it.
That's incredible.
I just want to say I love Shakespeare too. Those are my roots. My very first Shakespeare role was Henry Prince. Oh my gosh, why am I blanking? Prince Hal in Henry IV Part 1. And I got to be in R&J, and I have such an affinity and connection to it as well. So it was really fun to see what you did with it. And our city does a Shakespeare in the Park thing. And I was like, oh, this is going to be so cool to have a Shakespeare short film in the park kind of area where everybody is used to seeing it live theater. So yeah, we're excited.
Yeah. Oh my God. And I'm so excited about that.
Tony, we haven't talked about it yet, but are we doing cosplay for this?
I was like hoping we could get a Shakespearean, crew to come out, but so many places trying to juggle that never happened. But if you want to come out tomorrow, Thursday, in some Shakespearean garb, you are more than welcome to.
Well, I mostly own like Marvel and DC stuff. So if you have some Shakespearean garb, you know where to find me on Instagram. I'm gonna throw it over to Nadine. We'd love to hear your origin story. Where were you born and raised, and how has your journey uniquely prepared you for the work you're doing in film today?
I was born in Nashville, Tennessee. I grew up most of my young life in Fresno, California. I moved to Los Angeles on my own when I was 16 to pursue acting and filmmaking. I've been there ever since. How has my life prepared me for filmmaking? My film is based on my personal story with battling with mental health and depression a lot of my life. And also, I come from a family of suicide. And I am myself a suicide survivor. So I guess my long journey of life is what prepared me for making films. And I've, as an individual, been through a lot of trauma in my life and survived a lot of really hard things, but each time it has only made me stronger on the other side, and it's made me the best filmmaker I could have ever wanted to be, because it's made me a huge empath, because there's not very much I can't relate to or I can't connect to on a personal level. And it's prepared me to be able to tell a bunch of really powerful stories and to try and shine light on voices that I think need to be amplified and things that we need to
Yes.
talk about. So every project I choose is always a topic I believe needs to be talked about. A lot of my next films are about childhood trauma and surviving that trauma, the effects of long time trauma. And, so I've always wanted to kind of use the hardship I've been through to communicate, and hope that through telling my story, I could help other people communicate about theirs and to be able to be honest about their struggles.
I love that storytelling it could be so impactful, and visual storytelling can reach so many people. And if you're able to confront your own pain and your own past and put it into a visual form to reach other people and help other people, I just think that is tremendous. Like, that is so powerful. So thank you so much for sharing this story.
Well, thank you. Yeah.
So Nadine, let's chat about Continue. It is going to be on Saturday night, 7 p.m., July 9th, in the Redwood City Century 20 Cinemark Theater. You have worked, and I've read, what you've been posting and articles about you for a decade on this film, right?
Yeah.
It's a lot of time. You wrote it, you directed it, you star in it. Those of you who are wondering, okay, a film on suicide, how and what should I expect? It does show the gritty, true, and often bloody realities that people who are struggling with mental health and dealing with suicide attempts go through. It has a Euphoria kind of vibe to me. I don't know if you've been told that before. I feel like it's got a Euphoria, like an HBO Euphoria vibe. But there's also,
the stylized nature a little bit in some of the times.
Yeah. And it's got a really beautiful, and this, I'm not going to spoil it, but you got to watch it. A really beautiful, fun denouement in the film that just is like really heartwarming. But let's talk, because you made a film about your own personal experience. You put literally everything out on screen, and it must have, let's just, it's so many questions for you, because I love this topic as well. But let's talk about the making, some of the craft of it. Okay, the making of the film, the writing it, and kind of getting it off its feet. Give us some of these highlights of, okay, you started writing it 10 years ago. How'd you put your team together, funding, all of the juicy details and what you learned along the way? That's a lot. Start wherever you want, though.
Yeah, no. So, I mean, you already, like you said, it's been about a 10-year journey. My attempt on my life was when I was 23. I've been, and through that attempt, I, found sobriety. I found a lot of things that really helped me along the way. And one of which was this beautiful acting class. And in that acting class, my teacher was just always so supportive of us exploring our art. And, you know, I didn't have a lot of people who really, supported my writing. I think to them, I was the pretty actress who was making a pretty great living off of acting in that time. And so no one really took my writing seriously. But because of that acting class, I was able to start writing these scenes and putting them up. And through putting up these scenes in class, I started to see people's response to it. Honestly, almost every time I performed a scene, people would come up and ask if they could perform scenes from my story.
Wow.
If I would write part of their story, or would just come up and tell me their experiences, or that they were battling depression, or that they were also a suicide survivor. And I guess I just never really, I was so embarrassed. I thought I was like, you know, I don't know. I guess I thought I was a weirdo. I thought I was the only one out there who felt these ways and who battled these different things. And so through doing that, I started to realize how many other people out there had these same battles. And I felt like, God, maybe if I share my story and communicate, maybe just one person out there won't feel as alone today, and they won't feel as like a weirdo or like something's wrong with them. And so that's what kind of started the journey. I had never written a script before. Continue was my first script. It started as a short film. Everyone was like, hell no, you can't do a short film. This has to be a movie, because all I really knew is, like I said, I don't like to give away any of the twists and turns from the movie, but all I really knew I had was the ending. And I was like, okay, what do I want to tell after that? What's too much? What's too little? You know, and from coming from a family of suicide, I've also my whole life talked to my father about the loss of my grandfather. And you know, I know a lot about his journey and a lot of what he went through, and searching every drawer and everywhere he could for a suicide letter that he never found. And, you know, so I've made part of the journey in my film, and rather it being my grandfather, I made it my father, so I could use, you know, that experience that my father and I had shared about for so many years, and the firsthand of communicating through this story. And that came this film. After that, it was just kind of like God assisted me every step of the way. I found people, my mentor, Cassian Elways. You know, I like to tell this story, but basically I'll make it quick, is that I was sitting in a restaurant saying, gosh, if I could just run into him again. He and I got along so well. He's the right producer for this film. He loves indies. He loves, you know, strong subject matter. And I was like, I think if I could just run into him again, he'd remember me, and it would happen. And he walked in the door at that exact moment.
Wow.
Yeah. Talk about the assist. That's why I say, like, this, it's, you know, whatever your spiritual belief is, you know, but mine is that I was assisted by God the entire way. We can call it the movie God, whatever it was. I was assisted and I was helped. And, you know, that got me some great creative partners, but essentially because I wanted to wear so many hats on this film, it came down to having to raise the money myself, because I starred in it, I produced it, I self-financed, I put my entire life savings into the film, and then I raised the rest of the funding outside of that. You know, I basically, like I like to say, I wore every hat that you can have. I'm like, craft services, janitor, you name it, I'll take it. Like, I was doing everything I could just to make this film a reality. And then I found my investors, and we went on this journey. And right as we got through production, and, you know, and I'll say through casting, I know you mentioned casting, but that was just as divine a process. I met with a lot of really talented actors, but when you meet your people, you just know. It's like a first date. It's like anything, you know, you find your people, and it's like instant. I knew that those were the people I was supposed to work with, and they really believed in the vision. And, you know, I guess I like to call myself very collaborative, and I specifically choose my department heads and my different people because I don't like to I don't want to be on you. I want to trust you enough to believe that you are going to do your own thing and that you understand my vision enough that you're going to be able to bring all of your flavors, and this is a collaboration. But only through talking and hearing from them more on Q&As, they're like, no, she's very specific. She knows exactly what she wants and all of these things. So, we see ourselves as one thing, and I guess sometimes it turns out, I don't know. But so it was a really beautiful process, and my entire cast and crew gave when you see this film, and eventually I'm sure it'll come out what the budget is. I try not to tell people because I like to keep them guessing, but it was small and we didn't have enough days, especially for such an ambitious script. And if it wasn't for my entire cast and crew giving their entire all heart and soul, because almost everyone involved in this film has been affected by suicide or mental health in some way. So that's what gets you through the 18-hour days, overtime, and no weekends and no sleep. And like you were saying with the festival and stuff, everything that can go wrong does. And sometimes it ends up working out to be exactly how it was meant to be. It ends up better, and so it was a long journey. And then as soon as we finished and we were in the editing room, and I actually had extra weeks left on the edit, and I was like, I think this is it. I think we're here. And I had heard of this thing, COVID, that might be coming around. I was like, never. And we hit export pretty much, final, we wrapped the cut, and on a Monday, and that Thursday the entire world shut down, and no, and then I couldn't see my again for 3 months. And we're just working our asses off to deal with new COVID costs. And I know that everyone here knows exactly what I'm talking about when I say something you could have never anticipated was now this huge roadblock, and we've all just had to tap dance and do every damn thing in this world to get our films out there and to find a home. And so I've got to finally share the film. And this will be my first this weekend at Brave Maker will be my first time actually live with an audience, sharing it. I know, and I just feel so lucky. I get to actually experience it with the filmmakers and people, and it's gonna be really exciting.
It's going to be really exciting.
Wow, we're really grateful to be able to be your first screening in person. That's great. So everybody come out and see Continue Saturday, July 9th, 7 p.m. We will be doing we call them Q&Rs instead of Q&As. We like responses instead of answers. But question and response time will happen after. We are also partnering with Star Vista, which is a local organization that does suicide prevention and awareness, and that will have a bunch of materials available that are coming on Saturday night as well as Sunday morning. So please come, go to the bravemaker.com website and get some tickets. Meet Nadine and her husband, Anthony, who is also an actor and a producer in the film. So we are excited to have more conversations about this and also impact lives for the better. We believe in the power of story, and that's why we chose Continue, because it definitely represents a lot of what we're standing for. So thanks, Nadine. This is great.
And
we'll continue.
I want to say all the stories that you guys have there, all the films, everything, it's just so powerful. And I think it's incredible what you guys do, and that you give a voice to so many brave stories. So I just want to compliment you guys for, not only picking Continue, but all of the stories. When I was going through your program, I was just like, damn, what a badass festival. Literally, there wasn't a subject
rename the fest.
Yes, exactly. It was as soon as I was reviewing it all, I was like, well, now I understand the name to the fullest. Greatest individuals. So congrats to you guys. It's really awesome.
That makes me very happy. Yeah.
That feels good. Let's sit in that for a minute.
Totally sit in that. And I just sometimes as creatives, we can be you have to be optimistic. You have to be a little bit delusional to go after these dreams, to tell these stories, to raise the money. I just totally resonate with you saying about you wearing every hat. And in the same way, it's I feel like Brave Maker's been around for 100 years and we're only in our 4th year, but we have big dreams. We want to empower more makers. We want to be a grant and funding organization, this is our first year having a pitch fest. So we're able to give some money away, which is so exciting and important. But if you're watching this and you are someone who's generous and wants to impact culture, we're a nonprofit. So you can help us fund film. We have big dreams to be making more and more films, features, TV, episodics, podcasts, all that kind of stuff. So, all right, I'll get off that soapbox. Nick, when you listen to the stories from Nadine about, you making your short film and taking a inclusive and just cast into a Shakespeare story, what comes to mind? What resonates with you in a way that you have, had to blood, sweat, and tears your work into the world as well?
Yeah. Well, first of all, let me just say I'm so honored to be even in the same meeting and a part of this program with Nadine and with everybody else. I mean, like, my God, I've gone to, I've gone to film festivals that have inspired me, and I've, just like Nadine said, just in looking at the program that we have, I'm already so inspired. Not even there yet, and I'm honored to be a part of it. I think the thing that resonates with me the most was, that when she said, Nadine, when you said you were in that acting class, that you felt welcome and safe, and you felt like, you could just be yourself, you could do your thing. That was what I hoped I was doing with the Shakespeare workshop that I was moderating that I did for about 7, 8, a long time, several years, many years. And at first it was just for my acting career. At first it was like, let me just shoot a movie for myself. You know what I mean? Like, and I like Shakespeare and I'll be in it and it'll be great. And then of course I start reading the play that I wanted to do. And I got way more interested in the other characters. What I thought I could say, the part about my life I could express through the story. And it didn't have anything to do with me acting in it. It was about, at first I saw, I was like, there's like 4 guys, 4 girls or whatever. And I was like, wow, there could be a lot of room for diversity and representation. And then it just seemed more and more like, oh, wow, these guys have a lot of power in the story, and they are getting in their own way with their education or their training, and they're harming a lot of people in the process. And that was the thing I resonated with the most. I was like, growing up, looking back, I wish I had learned certain things sooner. I wish I'd been taught certain things sooner, and I wish I'd taught to respect people and to be more tolerant and listen to people. And that's just what I saw in these men who, it's kind of cute. They ban women from their lives or premises or whatever for like 3 years. And very quickly they learn not only was that a huge, stupid mistake, but it actually has some serious consequences. So like I wanted to create, if I was going to make a film, I was going to make a film that I wanted to be in. I was going to make a film that all the artists, like you said, can feel like they can tell their story. And I know what you mean too, when you're like, you think you're a collaborator and everybody's like, oh, you're super specific, and in a weird way, they want both from you. Like, they want you to collaborate, but they also need some focus, because if you don't focus it, they're going to have a billion questions. They're going to, they're going to be working like this way, and like, you really wanted them to work this way. So it's just a constant kind of communication and listening to ideas. And it's like you said, you bring on the people that are, the second you start talking about it, they're like, I'm in, I love this. Great. Then you could figure it out as you go on. It was my first film. And I had an incredible, really incredible team. My cinematographer, I cannot say enough just how much she owned the story and how much we mapped out, how we were going to express the feelings just visually, and shoot like, 9 people in a scene that is not supposed to be on film. It's supposed to be on a stage where you could just see everybody and it's fine, but to cover everybody, and to make sense of the language and still be telling a story that we believe in. And yeah, it was she put a lot of work in, and then so did everybody else, my editor and my producers. Everybody's like working for nothing, free or nothing. And yeah, I just wanted to make a project that, you know, what would I want to do and how would I want to be spoken to and treated as an actor, and especially as an actor, because I feel like as an actor, you think my job is to not be me and not be myself and not let myself come out or whatever. And I was like, no. Like, I want you to see this, and how does this move you? Like, bring out all of you, whatever, you know, I actually cast you for you. And Shakespeare's a really great exercise for that, because the second people pick up Shakespeare, they start putting on like this accent, or they start da da da, and I'm like no, man, no. If we want audiences to see themselves in it, you got to first see yourself in it. You can't just be like doing some pretend kind of thing. And
you mean it's not just a British accent?
No. I mean, and the funny thing is like there's no real reason other than, you know, we're all getting in our own way, other than that, like why Shakespeare is not super accessible and relatable. And it's not, it wouldn't even be a modern British accent. Like it would be a completely different accent, and it would be said at the speed of thought, and it would sound a lot more like, you know, it would be a lot more electric, like Hamilton or something like that. It would just be like just fast-paced, witty stuff that you'd be like, what did they just say? That was awesome, you know? And the fact that people go to Shakespeare plays today and are either like, I don't know, they're like kind of bored, or half the audience leaves at intermission. Like, I'm not throwing shade on productions. People do a lot of solid work, but there's still something missing. And at the end of the day, I think the thing that's missing is that relationship with an actor in the text, feeling like they can do whatever they want with it.
I also think though it's the audience's intimidation by the words and all of that too. Like, you know, I think that the fact, as soon as the audience starts to get more confident in themselves, that like you can understand it, and you can educate yourself further if you want to further understand it in a bigger way too.
Oh yeah.
Because the only reason I said that, I was like, I feel like sometimes I get intimidated with Shakespeare. So sometimes it has nothing to do with you or the performance. It's like, do I get that? But like, it's such a cool thing what you're doing.
I will say this. Well, thank you. No, I will say this though. I spent a lot of time as a teacher, and I would sub classes here and there. And I remember being in this middle school class, and this one kid, I was like, the whole class was just talking. And as a sub, I'm like, I'm just not gonna. They're talking during a movie. We're watching Romeo and Juliet, and it's the Zeffirelli. And I said to them, I was like, hey, everybody, you know, because I try to respect them. I'm like, I don't want to bother you, and if you're not watching the movie, that's fine. But I will say this: right now, it's about to be the most famous scene in all of, you know, English literature. It's this balcony scene. And if you're going to pay attention to one scene, pay attention to this one. And one kid, so they're watching it, and Romeo says, my life were better ended by their hate than death prorogued, wanting of thy love. And this one kid goes, oh, that's smooth. And so it's like, I always think it's our job that the audience shouldn't have to work super hard. Like they can get it if we do what's in the play, and it takes a lot of practice, but for example, like for Love's Labor's Lost, like there's a character in this play that I think is written as Black. And it's not just a little bit. I mean, there's a whole scene about how Black she is, and they're actually making fun of one of the guys over it, like, you know, the woman you love is Black, and they keep making all these horrible jokes about it, but he's in love with her, and he will battle to the death for her. And I've never seen her cast as Black. And like, even though they say the word black. So it's like, wow, there's like this, like all of a sudden, like when the audience disconnects, I feel like there's a disconnect because sometimes things aren't being produced in the real way that I think they were written, you know? So
the translation isn't as accurate or compelling as it could be for audiences. Nick, what are you hoping that audiences take away from your film? What are you hoping that they get from Shakespeare?
So talk about understanding. I don't know that like people are going to walk away, because it is a big job for people to like fully get everything that's being said. And I always think like 80% is enough. I also think too, because I picked one scene that's in the middle of the play, that's going to throw people off a little bit. So what I do want them to get is the tone. The tone of this story is that it's supposed to be a nice romantic comedy, and for some reason it's not. And it's not a disapproving father. It's not like, rival factions like Capulets and Montague. It literally is the men just getting into their own way and treating the women really badly. And that I think is apparent in the film from the start. Like this could all go so well, and for some reason it's not. And I want people to kind of see our lives in, even if they don't understand the words. I think visually and tonally, I really want to start a conversation.
I did see that. Can I tell you, it was almost like listening to Mandarin.
Yeah,
like,
that's all right. That's okay.
But at the same time, I was feeling myself represented. I was seeing my life reflected in the story, and I just love what you're pointing to is how do we get out of our own way right now? Because what you're talking about is something we're experiencing now. How do we get out of our own way to treat each other with equality and inclusivity and diversity, all those beautiful things that we love to talk about at Brave Maker? How do we do that? And you pulled out that point of that play and decided to elevate that. I think that's amazing.
Thank you so much. That means a lot.
I have been, we've been trying to make a dent in our area for inclusivity and justice and, representation in the arts. And I recently read an article that really convicted me with, language. We always say, underrepresented voices or marginalized communities. And I read an article that said, try using historically excluded voices. And I thought, oh my gosh, like that idea that historically people of color have been excluded from these spaces, right? Or the LGBT community has been excluded, or women have been excluded from lead roles, for a majority of film. And so it's really encouraging to see. And yeah, so thanks for the work that you both are doing. We'll take a quick break and then come back where we'll wrap up with our Brave phase. But I also want one thing that you'll do different on your next project because of what you learned. Okay, so you got 30 seconds to think about that. So that's July 7th through the 10th, the Brave Maker Film Festival. You can get tickets at bravemaker.com. Nadine, what will you do different next time because of what you learned from Continue?
I'll stand more firm in my voice as a filmmaker and what I have to share and what I have to give. I think that there are times when there's a lot of people on set and a lot of older crew and a lot of, gaffers and the whole department. And you have these, 50 or I don't even know how many people were on my crew, but 50, 100, whatever people staring back at you. And that can be intimidating. And, sometimes they might push you and not want to do certain things that you want to do or whatever else. And now that I've taken the film through the entire process, I've seen what I have to give as a filmmaker, as through editing, through sound design, the ideas, the collaboration. I just stand so much more firm in my own skin as a filmmaker. And I think that the next time around, I will carry that with me everywhere I go. And I won't let other people intimidate me because of my age or how I look or however else it is. I think one of the things that makes all of us unique is how completely ourselves we can be. And that is the thing that I can bring to a project that no one else can. And so I think rather than ever letting people make me feel intimidated or small or anything else, I'll stand really firm in myself and say, screw that. Like
That's great.
I'm here to tell a story, and how I tell it is special, and I have value, and I'm going to stand firm with that.
Boom.
Powerful.
That's
Yeah. Boom.
powerful.
Mic drop.
Thanks, Nadine. Nick, what about you?
I'm just, I just want to get even fancier. That's all.
Yeah.
Like, after because thinking about independent film, you're trying to think of what you can do on a certain budget and whatnot, and this and that. And I love the look of the film. I love how, and I just want to do more. Like, I just want to focus more on the things that are not the actors too. Cause like, I really cared about the actors and the movement and all that stuff, and the editing and stuff. And now I want to focus on like the stuff that's, that fun stuff, that theater world, that creating that world, the world building and stuff that, you know what I'm saying? Like, everything from like crazy props and sets, and, just get a little wild, get a little experimental. Cause I was really kind of self-conscious about that. And, I held back on that. So like Nadine said, we're going to get into it.
That's fun. That's exciting.
Thank you too for sharing. As filmmakers ourselves, we always appreciate learning, and I think I hear both of you are underneath this. Like, you've got this gut feeling, the gut, right? Go with your gut, move forward, make some decisions, be bold, risk it all. It's so worth it. So good. All right, we're going to end with Brave Faves.
Brave Faves. TV shows, films, books, songs, technology, clothing, podcast, food, and more. These are a few of our favorite people, places, and things. Brave Faves.
My brave fave is the music by RBYN, Robin, and you can catch her live at our film festival July 9th for part of the Chase Love Experience. We're going to be at the Ciclismo Cafe. Is that right, Tony? With a bunch of other amazing artists. Come check her out. She's got music on YouTube and Apple, and she happens to be my little sister. And I love her. And we're gonna have a good time over there partying with all the musicians. So that's my brave fave, our BYN. Check it out, and I'll throw it over to you, Tony.
Thank you. My brave fave is season 4 of Stranger Things, y'all. I know people are like, it's so long and so fat, and they need to edit more, but I loved it. I watched it with my daughter, and I also bought the experience, the San Francisco live experience to go to next week. So I'm really excited about that. And if you come to the film festival, you're going to meet one of the actors who is performing that live in San Francisco. So Stranger Things chapter 4, so good, so scary, so ooey gooey, so Freddy like Krueger, so many cool call outs. Yeah, so many good things. They're stretching it out, but they're doing some really cool things, like tying these storylines together where you're like, oh my gosh, that was so good. So I highly recommend Stranger Things. That's my brave fave. Nadine, what do you got?
My brave fave would be the author Michael Ferris Smith. I am directing one of his next features, Desperation Road. So I've been reading a ton of his books lately and immersed in his world. He's an author from Mississippi, and I just think, I hadn't got to read a lot of novels in my life. I've had like 17 jobs since I was 16. And I just feel like I didn't get to read as much when I was younger. And now that I've really started diving in on so many beautiful films or books, his in particular, I really wanted to share his writing. He's a badass.
What's his name again, Nadine?
Michael Ferris Smith. And he has a great book. I mean, 2 of his favorite, or my favorite books, is Desperation Road, obviously, because I'm directing that one, so I'm a little biased. And then he has a book called The Fighter, which is also an incredible, and Nick, which is the origin story from The Great Gatsby. Yeah.
Oh, wow.
He has just such a cool style and an array of books, and they're all just as good as the last, you know, and I now have his whole collection. So I've been making my way. I'm a slow reader, but I'm making my way through the collection.
That's cool. Congrats on your next film too. That's great.
Yeah.
All right, Nick, what about you?
Oh man, I got a lot of faves. My cousin DJ Hobby Beats, he's doing great. He's a DJ on. He's got this residency with Sirius XM, and he's on TikTok, and he does a lot of where he's like, I bet you didn't know it was a sample, and then he shows you like the song, and then he shows you.
Oh, I love that stuff. Drop the link.
So I'll drop it. Yeah, it's so cool, man. He starts it off real like, you know, you hear the old song, and then he does everything it needs to be done to it, and it sips right into the newer one, and it's amazing. Yeah, should I drop it in right now? Do I find it right now?
Yeah.
Drop it in. Yeah, if you put it in the private, we'll put it in the public. And yeah, that's we have a lot of live music happening at the film festival. So if you like music, we got DJs on opening night, DJ on Saturday. So we got so many fun things happening. That's it for the show, but we want to say thank you to all of you. You know, we can't do this without you. I'm be honest. There's so many times as a filmmaker, as the executive director of Brave Maker, where I just kind of lean back and go, I don't know if I can keep doing this. Is this going to kill me and crush me? But I keep going because of the support and the people who rally around us. It is a lot of work. And you just heard these two filmmakers. There are so many forces working against you to bring something beautiful in the world. And sometimes you just cheat a little bit and go, should I just get like a normal job? Should I just 9 to 5? It would be so much easier on my mental health and my life and my physical energy. But you can't because this is what you were called to do. And people who have a high calling need to rise to that level. So thank you for those of you who are our donors and partners. So many of our sponsors, looking at, our program right here, Nikon, the Chan Zuckerberg Initiative, Caltrain, MDT Talent Agency, KQED, Republic Metropolitan, Parks and Arts Foundation, the City of Redwood City, the Actors Lounge Podcast, Guerrilla Wanderers, and Guidewire, along with our presenting sponsors, the Prince Street Partners. Can't do it. They're making this happen with the venue rentals, with helping with catering, with helping with lodging for our feature filmmakers. There's just so many things we cannot do without the support of corporations and individuals like yourself. So thank you. If you want to become a sponsor or just a donor, we have people who donate $5 or $10 a month. That all helps. Go to bravemaker.com/donate or use your phone to text the word Brave Maker to 44321. And someday, again, there's going to be a big donor who's going to help us make many, many films together with maybe even
That's right.
Nick and Nadine. We want to be funding films. So keep making it happen. Go to bravemaker.com and buy your ticket today for the Brave Maker Film Fest, which starts tomorrow, July 7th.
And we can't make this show happen without our amazing Brave Maker team. So thank you, Amy Cohen, our producer out of Texas, our podcast producers out of Grand Rapids, Michigan. That is Bernal Amos and Carrie Alley, who is our social media manager. Thank you to our interns, Emerson Morley out of the Bay Area, and Sarah Agolia. Thank you guys all for helping us put on this show every week. And we'll be back next Wednesday, right? With another amazing.
Who knows? We might be taking a nap next Wednesday, but we'll have to do a recap show, right? Because we're going to be partying
we might be doing a
4
recap
days
show.
We'll see.
Yeah.
Nadine and Nick, thank you so much for being a part of this.
Thank you.
Where can people find you? Just throw out your socials real quick before we end.
Yeah, I'm just Nadine Crocker. It's pretty easy. My first and last name, and then continue the film is the film's handle.
You can catch me at the shakespeareworkshop.com or on Instagram is at NickyMus, NICKYMUS.
Right on. Well, we'll see you in just a day or two, both of you. We're excited to celebrate with you. Hang on before you go so we can grab a picture with you. And everybody else, brave stories change the world.
And you are the story. Bye, everyone.
Follow us on Instagram, Twitter, YouTube, and Facebook at bravemaker.org. Like, subscribe, and share. To become a monthly donor, text the word BraveMaker to 44321 or go to bravemaker.com/donate. Thanks for tuning in.